I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I can change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break right past, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Hello. Kind of quick straight away. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Linda K. This is my channel, Checking Convictions. And my guest today is Alice. Hello, Alice.
Hello.
Okay. And let me see now. I don't even think I even have a chat going on. So I better go to this chat. Hey, Jazz. Hey, Dark Side. Hey, Mystic. Hey, Rosie. Hey, Becca. And I believe that's all that's here right now besides us. That's okay. They'll come in. Anyway, so I was just chatting with Alice in the back about my cool intros. I just love doing that stuff. I'd like to start by saying happy birthday to Teresa. Happy heavenly birthday to Teresa Hallbach, who it is her birthday today. So, and everybody says we're not in this for, oh, Jazz, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you. I think she would have been 42 today. If I'm mistaken, Jinx can let me know because her birthday.
Yeah, 42.
Hi, Nosy. Yeah, so she'll be 40. She would have been 42. So it's very sad that she's still waiting for justice. That's very sad. But anyway, so Alice, how are you? What you been doing?
I'm good, thanks. Not doing much, just trying to get back into doing my videos about Luke. Because there's still a lot of people out there that are doing the stuff from the media, still following the lies. And everything like that. So I just want to get back in there and start spreading the truth.
Hi, Mose. Why don't you explain to everybody Luke's case? First, tell everybody who you are, how you got into the wrongful convictions. By the way, she's got the coolest name, don't she? Alice in Wrongful Conviction Land. I love it. But anyway, so why don't you tell them a little bit about you and then explain Luke's case so some people could understand.
Yeah, well, Alice in Wrongful Conviction Land, as you know. I've always been into true crime, always. But I recently got more into it after watching Making a Murderer. There is wrongful conviction cases here in the UK. I mean, it's not as bad as what it is in the US, but there is one here just now. That is Luke Mitchell. He was 14 years old. It's the Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones case here in the UK. Luke was 14 years old, and so was Jodie. This happened in 2003. Luke was the only suspect that the police looked into. And he is behind bars, and he has got a minimum sentence of 20 years. So he's got to do a minimum sentence of 20 years before he can even be considered for parole. But the way it works over
Does he
here
have to admit
is
like they do here?
Yes. Yes, they have to admit, but they also have to do courses as well, like anger management courses,
Oh, wow.
things like that. and he's got to admit his wrongdoing. And he's not going to do that because he's innocent.
He didn't do anything.
And the documentary that was out last year, if it wasn't, it was 2020. It was the first time Luke actually spoke for himself from prison since the day that it happened, because every time he went to speak about it, he was getting shot down. Nobody's going to believe you. You're, all this kind of thing. And there is a lot of people that don't believe him because it was all over the media.
Right. So it's like
every
trial by
single day
media,
that
right? What we would recognize is trial by media, right? Like that's a close.
Definitely.
He got tried and convicted before he even went in. But they really did a lot wrong with his case. Okay, first of all, they left Joe the crime scene in the rain. They didn't collect things. I mean, they kind of just targeted Luke right away, right?
Yeah, they did. I mean, there was 4 people in the search party. There was Luke, Jodie's granny, Jodie's sister, and Jodie's sister's boyfriend, and they all were there when the body was found. And Luke phoned the police, and in his conversations and that, he was saying, "We have found a body." Well, he never said a body. He says, "We have found something." And it was always we, but the person in the control operator and the police both were saying, he said he's found something.
Ooh.
So it was like there was misleading information from the beginning. The police went to take the missing persons report from Jodie's mum, and the police left Jodie's mum's house thinking that Luke and Jodie left Jodie's house at the same time and together, which is not true. I mean, there's a lot of assumptions in this case,
Right. Well, Luke wasn't by himself. He was just ahead of the people, right? And the dog is the one that alerted him to go over the wall, correct? So it really wasn't like he knew where she was. The dog knew Jodie.
That's correct. He was with his dog Maya at the time, and he went from his end of the path at New Battle, because they stayed in 2 separate areas, and it was this path that separated each area. And Luke went from his area up the woodland path to Jodie's area, met up with the gran and the brother and the gran, the sister, and the sister's boyfriend, met up with them there, and then they walked back down the path again. And when they got to the V-break in the path, Maya reacted and went over to the wall, and she was up on her hind legs at the wall, and she was sniffing the air and everything like that. And Luke knew that as a sign, because Maya was being trained as a tracker dog. So, it was find things and find stuff and things like that. So he put her into tracking. No, she was being trained. She was being trained by a specialist that knew the family. And she was really good at it, really good at it. So the dog knew Jodie's scent anyway. The dog knew Jodie because she'd been going to the house and things like that for months now. So she kind of knew Jodie's scent. So Luke kind of put her in tracking mode and went, seek, find Jodie, where's Jodie? And she went off and she started sniffing, and when she got to the V-break, she sniffed in the air. Luke went over the wall, went a few feet past the V-break on the opposite side of the wall, and found Jodie lying there. He didn't go too far. He just shone the torch, and I mean, as he said, it looked like a mannequin, because us Scots, I mean, we are white, you know what I mean? We don't get sun like you get sun, So the majority of us are peely wally white, what I mean? So if you're a white body in a dark night shining a torch, you're going to think it's a mannequin of some sort, you know what I mean?
It didn't look real.
And that's what I thought it was.
Right. Oh, it didn't look real. I mean, how many people come across a blood? It was a really bad, bloody scene, let's just say. I mean, I've just heard there's not a whole lot we can really get, because in Scotland, it's different there for your cases to get information, correct? Do you want to explain how different it is from the United States?
Well, we cannot get any legal documents. Like, we can't get court transcripts. We can't get police reports. We can't get any interviews or anything like that's been done.
Wow.
The only thing that we've been able to access is his appeal papers, because they are on the Scottish court's website.
Okay.
And they refer a lot of things to what's in court. And I mean, the only people that really know what happened in that court and in there is the people that was there, and Dr. Sandra Lane. Dr. Sandra Lane has been fighting this case for 18 years now.
Right.
She's been fighting Luke's case.
How do you find out about a
she
case then? I mean, how do you find out about a wrongful conviction in your country? When they say something, we can FOIA that stuff. Like you said, you kind of swallowed your words because you're like, well, that don't happen in my country. And then all of a sudden you found out about Luke. And Luke, by the way, was a young child. If you guys are just joining, we're talking about a wrongful conviction in Scotland. His name is Luke Mitchell, and the victim was Jody Jones, and that was his girlfriend. And they were both 14, correct? 14 years of age. Yep. And it happened in 2003? Three? Yep. So it was before Teresa and Stevens, and he's been in for 18 years.
Yep.
18 or 19.
Yep.
Oh, getting on to 20, right? Yeah. But he's always maintained.
He's got to do a minimum of 20.
Right. He's always maintained his innocence. The papers kind of took it and just ran with it. Right. Mm-hmm. They just kind of, he did it. And they just never looked at anybody else. Right. So they really didn't do an investigation. There's like no DNA, correct?
No,
and he
there
never
is
confessed.
No DNA. No, nope. He never confessed to anything because he didn't do anything.
Okay. So how did they convict him then?
Circumstantial evidence, Linda. Basically.
I know
not only that, witnesses changed statements. They changed their statements left, right, and centre. From description, from the first statement that was took to the time they went to court, because Luke didn't get took to court until 17 months after the murder.
Wow. And did they have any DNA at all?
They had DNA. There was 5 different profiles found on and around Jodie's body and the scene, but none of it was Luke's.
None of it was Luke's, but it was somebody that they knew. There was some DNA from somebody they knew, which would be the sister's boyfriend. But they said that she switched shirts into a dirty shirt. I can't see a 14-year-old girl going and switching into a dirty shirt, but that's what they got away with. They said that
she borrowed her sister's. They said that she borrowed her sister's T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Now, that would be okay if they lived in the same house together. That could be believed. But the fact is that they lived in separate houses. The sister lived with the grand.
I know who you are. Excuse me, Alex. I don't take no trolls in here. You're very welcome to stay. But if you're rude in any way, you will be gone. I can tell you that right now.
Nice to see you, Elizabeth. But you know fine well that Luke never changed his statements. And you've got to remember he was a 14-year-old child as well. So, I mean, statements bound to have been said one thing or another, but he's always maintained his innocence. Always maintained his innocence. And the forensic evidence also points to that. Shane changed his statement 3 times in 5 days. That's a load of rubbish, William. That is a
Looks
rubbish.
like
He never
when you
changed
talk
his
about
statements
Luke,
3 times in
you
5
get
days.
this. So as long as they're respectful, they have
I borrowed
they
my
have an
sister's
opinion,
clothes
they
all
can
the
say
time,
it.
and we stayed in different houses. Yeah, that's right. That's fair enough, Elizabeth. But you've got to remember, Jodie came home from school at 4 o'clock. She was murdered by 5:15. So she wouldn't have had time to come home from school, go to your granny's, and then come back again. It's just not plausible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's
Anyway.
just not.
You can do this kind of stuff when you talk to Alice on her channel, which is in the description below. So please, anybody, mods, you can drop the link. It's in the description. And please go subscribe to Alice. But this is not debating. This is getting to know Alice's talents, where she comes from, and the cases she's working on. The debating can go somewhere else. I am trying to build a community with people and their talents. So there's really not going to be case discussion. So go ahead, Alice. You can say what you want, but I'm just not going to tolerate no trolling.
Yeah. So I mean, there was 5 other people's DNA on and around the body, as I was saying, but none of it was Luke's. Linda, that's the problem with this case, right? There is no physical evidence whatsoever to connect Luke to this case.
Right. There's no DNA, no confession. And they only really looked at Luke because people's events of that evening changed. There was no eyewitnesses either to anything else, right? Like nobody's seen Jodie going there or anything like that. There was some kids that were around. What are they called? The Moped Brothers or something that were around at that time, cut their hair and other things. You know, the case is very, very complicated. Like I said, it's been going on since 2006. And it is extremely complicated, especially when you can't get any hi Angie, you can't get any FOIAs from that country. You can only get things that were, what did you say, that were already used in trial? Is that what you said?
No, it's only his appeals that we've been able to get. Yeah, it's only his appeals that we've been able to get documentation of.
Right. So, well, he has to admit, right? And go to certain classes, but he's coming up on his 20 years. Do you think he's going to admit, or do you think he'll sit there?
No, he'll sit there, Linda. As I said, and I mean the recent documentary, there was a documentary done in 2007. And then there was a documentary done in 2021, I think it was. And both of the documentaries have both came back and said that there's no way Luke done this, that this conviction needs to be looked at again, because here in the UK, it's got to be, without a doubt, they've got to come to the decision that the person is guilty without a doubt. You know what I mean? It's no, but there is way too much doubt in this case.
Right.
For
you
guys not to be looked at again.
Right. You guys don't use the Reed technique either in your country, do you?
We're not supposed to.
Right.
We're
right.
not supposed to. I mean, that's not to say that that's not to say that the police don't still use it, but we're not supposed to.
Right. But so there, I mean, your laws differ a lot, like, you know, but still you still had a 14-year-old kid convicted as an adult, just like Brendan, convicted as an adult in the United States. And we use the Reed technique, which is completely deceiving and everything else. And you guys are to use the peace technique, correct? Where that's where you sit, where they sit and let the other person tell the story. Not supposed to really ask them any questions or tell them, you can't lie to them, things like that, which is, I am all for that. I really believe the United States should pick that up. And I really believe the United States should pick up a lot of what your justice system does, because you really don't hear of wrongful convictions in Europe and other, countries around it. You really don't. I don't know if that's lack of being able to get information, or if it's just the way you handle your cases. Like Brendan was touched on the knee. You can't do that there. They would throw that stuff out. You can't, there's certain things you're just not allowed to do that we do here in the United States, correct?
Yeah. But the way that the courts, when it came to Luke, the courts actually, the appeals courts actually said that the way the police spoke to Luke, they weren't interested in getting the truth. They were only interested in trying to get a confession. Mm-hmm. And they never got it.
Never got it.
And Luke wasn't, even though Luke was the same age as Brendan, Luke was a wee bit more, what's the word? Yeah. Cockier, maybe I would say.
Streetwise.
A wee bit more. Not even wise, just a wee bit more gallus. You know what I mean? The police would say something to him, like they showed him a photo of a knife, and they said to him, "Well, where is that knife, Luke?" And Luke just basically said to them, "Well, you've got a 40 yet, so you must have it."
Yeah.
And because he had that kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's kind of like the West Memphis 3, right? They looked at him like he's playing death music, and he's he's all about worshiping the devil, and that's the way they treated the West Memphis 3. So, which, by the way, we're okay to get testing. We're just waiting for when, of course. And this is 30 years later. They're completely off the books, and they took an Alford plea, and they're still trying to free their names. So it takes a long time to get exonerated, to get your name cleared, to even get into court. So Luke's been fighting almost 20 years, for this. And he's had one lawyer for she's not even a lawyer, right? Sandra Lean wasn't even a lawyer, but that was his counsel, is, whatever. So he hasn't even been able to get in court.
No, his appeals, they've denied his appeals, even though 1 minute they say his human rights have been broken and things like that, and it's opened up to an appeal. He does that appeal, and it gets knocked back. It's again, evening Alice, lovely Scottish accent. Thank you, White Rabbit. They just keep denying these appeals. It's like sort of like in Brendan's and Stephen's case, they don't want to admit that they're wrong, Linda. We want an independent review, and an independent review will look at everything. It'll look at how the police handled it. It'll look at how the lab handled it. It'll look how the investigation went.
Yeah.
And things like that. So this is what we're fighting for. This is what we're needing the 25,000 signatures for on the petition.
How are you doing on that? Is there a place we can link to have? Oh, you can't. You're in another country. Doesn't do no good.
Can you know?
Well, that's really nice, Mr. McDonald's. How nice of you. Oops, I got to unblock Jinx. Jinx, I just blocked you. Okay, Jinxie, sorry. But I will unblock you, Jinx. I blocked Jinx trying to block McDonald, who's not a nice person. Has some really nasty words. But we could be that too,
Very nice. You do
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah, Jinx. Sorry, Jinxie. There you go, honey. You're not hidden no more. She's a moderator. The Scots have a more colorful words for the police. Yeah, why don't you give them some, Alice? Let it go. You know you can do it. It's free speech
Oh,
here.
well,
Hi, Sherry.
they're screws, they're arseholes, they're pigs,
Yeah, I'll give you your wrench too,
they're
babe. I'm sorry.
tossers, they're
There you go.
fannies.
There you go, sweetie.
Yeah, I mean,
And
when
old
it comes
McDonald
to
needs to
it,
go. Yeah, I do
because of
believe
how it was portrayed in
he's
the
gone.
media.
Kind of rude. I don't even get trolls, so I don't know. They must be following for the Luke case because I know you really, really get a lot of hatred with that case. And that comes with a lot of cases. I mean, I'm all over YouTube and I see all kinds of things. And that's what we're trying to prevent here. We're trying to make sure that the facts get out and that they're just straight facts. Yes, we all have opinions, but we like to say, in my opinion, or allegedly, because we're not trying to give false facts. We're trying to get to the truth. And you can only get to the truth by the truth. You cannot, you can't rewrite truth. It doesn't need rewriting,
But some
right?
people don't like the truth. Some people don't like the truth, though, Linda. You know what I mean? No matter how many times, I mean, as I've said, there is no forensic evidence whatsoever linking Luke to this case. None. There is 5 other people's different DNA on and around Jodie's body at the time of the murder. And it was only Luke that got investigated. It was only Luke that was arrested on the spot. Well, no, arrested, he was detained on the spot. And he was a 14-year-old child. Now, for what the reports in that are, William Plod, the Plod, that's another one we call the police, the Plod.
The Plod? Okay, the Paulies and
Plod,
the Plod.
yeah.
And what are they? They're a bunch of, it's
Tossers.
bollocks and they're wankers or something. I don't know. I love the way you guys say things.
Tossers, fannies, Plod, pigs. You name it, we've got a word.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. I remember what that's about. It's not your butt. That's for sure. Well, it looks like we got like people from all over because I don't know. The White Rabbit says they call him Old Bill. I don't know where that's from.
The Old Bill. Yeah, the Old Bill. That's that they get called the Old Bill as well. Yeah.
Oh, maybe from the UK or something too. I don't know, But you've got a channel and it's called Alice. Hey, White Rabbit, you should like this. It's Alice in Wrongful Conviction Land. I love her name. The White Rabbit, comes from Alice in Wonderland. So, yeah, hey, you'll have to go over and check her out. She gets over there and she will let that Scottish way of speaking be heard. Alice is very well known for speaking her mind in the foul play. Dr. Silkman, who's from Australia, absolutely loves it. No, Alice, please don't hold back, he says. Tell us how you really feel when she's going to town. And it is it's, even though you're being very serious and you're using some maybe harsh words, I don't know, it sounds so lovely. It doesn't matter. It just sounds lovely. Hi, Dazed and Confused. Thanks for being here. So,
White Rabbit, White Rabbit says, my dad was Scottish and he called them bampots, lol. I'm in London. Yeah, so London, they call them the Old Bill. Up here, we call them every name under the sun, including a bampot. You're right, White Rabbit.
I just call them assholes, liars, assholes, fabricators, jerks. A few other things.
It depends on what mood the Scottish is in that day, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. But so you've been in the Avery case for gosh, how long have you been here in this case? I mean, I've been here 5 years. There's some of them in the chat that's been here for 6 and longer. So
it'll be just over 2 years I've been here now.
That's good. That's good. You learned a lot about the American justice system.
Yeah.
You have?
Very much so.
Have
Very
you,
much so. And just how different it is for over there to over here. I mean, I knew there would be some differences, but just know quite how much different it would be.
yeah. It's kind of funny that you found out about the Luke case while being in the making the murder case. I mean, because you were like, "Oh, that won't
Yeah,
happen."
there was a couple of wrongful convictions here before. The Guildford Four and Joe Steele and oh
Now
God,
somebody's coming in as
forgot his
Luke,
name.
huh?
T.C. Campbell. T.C. Campbell, and I thought we learnt our lessons, Linda. I was maybe naive, maybe a wee bit gullible, thinking
Yeah.
that we'd learnt our lessons, you know. But when this first started with Luke, and he went to court and everything like that, and he said, and there was no DNA or anything like that. I was like, this lad is innocent. But that was about it, because you never really heard anything more about it. You know what I mean? So it was maybe a case
Right.
of out of sight, out of mind in a sense, you know.
Right.
And then I watched Making a Murderer and I was like, oh my God, and looked up the internet and realised that they were still in jail. Watched Eric
Mhm.
Ozzy, and then we watching Eric Ozzy go on to foul play. And that's how it started. And then there was more and more coming out about Luke as well. And then they done the documentary again. Now, I'd seen the documentary in 2007 and I was like, that lad is innocent, but I didn't think there was much I could do about
Right.
it. You know what I mean? So I didn't maybe pay as much attention as what I should have. And then the new documentary came out. And that's what kind of started the ball rolling again. And I got the court documents. I got Dr. Sandra Lean's book. She's wrote a book, Innocence Betrayed, it's called. And what she's done with the book, she had access to the defence papers and everything like that. And what she's
So
done
she
is
can
she's put
explain it really
bits,
well in the book. She explains like
yeah,
each thing that is wrong with the case in chapters, correct?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
each
that's
thing
right.
is right. So it's easy to understand.
She breaks
Right.
it
So if
down.
you
She
just
breaks
doing
it
that.
down into different things. Yeah, she breaks it down into different things. She breaks it down for the DNA. She breaks it down for the phone calls. She breaks it down for the media. She breaks it down for the DNA, and all that kind of stuff. But the only way that she's been able to write this book, Linda, is because, as I says, we can't get to the court documents and everything like that. So the only way that she could get information out there that she thought needed to be out there was to do it in a book, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
she's
I
also had
got
to
some
watch
breaking
what she's
news.
saying.
Melissa's lawyers, the Melissa Alonso case that you guys have also been talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
The lawyers just filed a petition with the governor, Abbott, to grant her clemency before April 27 execution. So they put in a
Oh,
petition for her. That's breaking news. Just heard it on my little ticker. So that's good news, I guess. I hope he accepts it, because she's also supposedly wrongfully convicted. So let's just hope. That's the problem with these. Luke's been fighting all these years and his sentence is almost going to be up. But they're not going to let him out unless he admits guilt.
yeah,
It's the same thing with Brendan. They do that here. And I don't understand, because when your sentence is up 20 years, you should be let out. It should be done. You know what I mean? If that's what you were given, there shouldn't be no stipulation of now you have to admit guilt after sitting 20 years saying you're innocent. I think I would say I was guilty
yeah,
just to get out. I mean, people think I'm guilty anyway. What the hell's the difference? I want some kind of life, right? But these people that are innocent won't do it. They don't do it. It's just like, I'm going to sit here. I'll die here because I am not guilty. And
yeah.
it's hard,
He said
you
that.
know? Yeah, he
He
said that
said
too.
that himself.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said
that's
that himself, Linda, because in the last documentary that was done, Luke spoke out for the first time for behind bars, because every time he's tried to speak up about it, he's been told not to. He's been told you're going to stir up things, and stuff like that.
You're going to
So
get up here and talk about that, Broken. By your son.
so he didn't think people would listen to him, you know, because he was getting shot down all the time. But with this documentary, they actually wanted to listen and know what he wanted to say.
Right.
And he told his truth from inside, and he says he will not admit. He adamantly denies. He says, I did not kill Jodie, and I will not admit to something that I have not done. So if that means I need to stay behind bars, then I'll stay behind bars, because he isn't going to admit to something that he's not done.
Right. You got a lot of guilters in here. A lot of your own peoples from Scotland are really guilters in here. Do you find that a lot? You really have a lot of guilters? You do?
Yes.
I mean, people that
Yes.
firmly believe. And what are their arguments? Are they substantial debates, or are they the same thing like what we get? I mean, you know, all the blood was in the car, and that's just, you know, and how he threw a cat on fire, you know, stuff like that. Is it the things that they believe in the media, or is it the cold facts that the courts show?
No, I mean, it's majority what the media put out there.
Right.
And people say that they've spoken to people, and like they speak to people that was close to it and stuff like that. And that's fair enough, and that's their opinion. But
Right.
For me, it's media. It's everything that the media has put out there, because from the third day after the murder, he was in the papers, Linda. And
Right.
even though, I mean, one of them did actually name him 3 days after. Now, there's a law here in Scotland that you're not allowed to name a minor in anything, right? So they think it's all right to say the boyfriend, you know,
Okay.
and then have Luke's picture plastered all over that paper under the boyfriend,
Right.
you know, but they say that that's them no naming him. Then what
Right.
is it? Everybody
Right.
knew that Luke was Jodie's boyfriend, you know what I mean? So why are they putting a picture of him under the same headline as the boyfriend?
Well,
you know, and that's all it was for 9.5 months. Was the boyfriend this, the boyfriend that, the boyfriend's who's been raided, the boyfriend's been kicked out of school, there's a maniac on the loose. I mean, the first pictures that they put out of Jodie was of a picture of Jodie when she was about 8-year-old.
Right. Well,
saying that there was a missing girl. You know what I mean?
This is a problem that we have in all around the world, is the media. Like the White Rabbit says, it is either your friend or it is a virus. I mean, because things get so stretched. You know, that telephone game. Oh, Dad was around the corner. Then the next thing you know, oh, he was right in the building. You know what I mean? The lies get twisted, opinions become facts, and that's why I'm so strong on facts, especially when it comes to people's lives, like death row. We have a lot of death row inmates. Rodney Reed. I mean, I can name a lot of them that we fight for, that, I mean, on a constant through Twitter and everything else. And then now these missing children cases. Why do you want any lies there? You want truth. You're trying to find a child, maybe before they pass away or are murdered or sent on sex trades. And then you got people sitting in prison waiting years if they can even get into court. You have to have money for this, and your public defenders run out after so long here in the States. I don't know what it's like in your country for fighting for a wrongful conviction. You know, I mean, it seems like it's just as hard as it is here in the States. I mean, you got all this money and courts being tied up. Then you got plea deals. Plea deals. We don't even want to start on that because that is a whole new thing. You know, when you know for a fact that you, out of all the cases, 3% of them go to trial, that means 96% of them are on a plea deal. That's an awful lot of innocent people taking blame for something, and then they can't even fight it.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of stuff really, really bothers me in our country. What is it about your country that you might like to see change as far as your justice system that you don't feel is fair?
Probably the same as your appeal processes. You know, the amount that has came out about Luke. Delete that. See that, Luke Mitchell, delete it, Linda.
I don't see Luke Mitchell. One of my mods better get him.
It's just popped in. I can't do it.
I see him. Okay, I got him. Bye-bye,
Knows
Luke.
he's got him.
You're
All right,
not-
knows he got him.
Yep.
That's a troll.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, he did kill him.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
his opinion too. Everybody's opinion
the-
is okay. You just can't come in here under a false name. We're talking about Luke. You're not Luke. Come in your real name and say that you think he did it. That's fine. I'll hear anybody out, but you cannot be disrespectful or rude. It just is not. That's not no way to even be heard. You know, you want to
No.
be heard. You should act like an adult and have a conversation. It's easy to debate. I've been in many debates where I totally disagree with somebody, but you don't have to be an asshole. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
No.
Right. So,
I mean, that's why I've says, Linda, I'm happy for them to come into my chat. But when they
Sure.
come into my chat and they start putting out what I think is nonsense, you know, because I think it was Elizabeth the other day there had said that Maya reacting and everything like that was a load of nonsense, you know, and that any dog would have smelt blood and would have been reacted to the blood.
Right.
So if that was the case, a witness came forward, Linda, and said that he was in that woodland strip with his 8 dogs. And he was in that woodland strip between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock at night. Now, Jodie is supposed to have been killed at 5:15 at night in that woodland strip, you know. So if any dog would have been gone to the blood, it would have been him with his 8 dogs.
Yeah.
No, just Maya. So you have to put some logic into it as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's where a lot of it gets lost. Is people just don't think common sense wise.
Maya's not going to be the only one to react to it, and these other 8 dogs are going to just walk right past it. If her logic is that any dog would react to the blood, you know, but they don't like hearing things like that, though, Linda. You know, they don't like hearing the logical the side of things when you put it on. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I suppose you get that in any community, you know. I mean, we get it with the guilters for Brendan and Stephen, you know. He's guilty, he's a rapist, he's this, he's that, you know, even though he got exonerated for what happened to Penny. So he isn't a rapist or anything like that, you know what I mean? And that's what I feel for with poor Luke, because even when he does get exonerated or gets proven innocent, he's still going to be known as the one who was accused of murdering his girlfriend.
That doesn't even, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but that doesn't even make sense to me. Show me a case where the police have used the person's name instead of scent. That doesn't even make sense to me.
No,
so I mean, when you're going to ask a question, it should at least make sense. That really does not make any sense at all to me, anyway. I'm sorry, you know, but maybe you can explain it in another one. But that just doesn't make sense to me.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I'll let
that's
you
what I mean.
for myself.
I mean,
you can read it yourself. She wrote it. I do not know what it means, but and maybe it's a culture.
Show me a case where the police have used a person's name instead of a scent. I'm not talking about the police.
Stick
Elizabeth,
with
you're away off on one. Yeah, you're away off on one. We can deal with that on my channel, just not on this channel, because it's not about that. And you're away off on a tangent that I've not got a clue what you're on about. Nobody said anything about the Polish using anything for a scent or
Yeah.
anything like that. We were talking about something completely different. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, this is what you get, Linda. You know what I mean? This is what you get. It's
Yeah, I mean, I can
and I mean,
understand logical questions like, okay, when the crime scene was took over by the police, what did they do that would prevent it from being somebody else, or that really showed it was Luke? You know what I'm saying? The DNA, but they did not do anything there. They left in the rain. They
they left
moved the
Joe there.
body. Everything was washed away. I mean, how are you even see? My firm belief is all wrongful convictions start at the investigation. Okay,
Yeah.
first spot. That's where they start. And if you're going to get them, you're going to find out that it's going to be police either not doing something right or getting tunnel vision and not seeing the truth because they've got a thought that this is it. And I, sometimes gut instincts of, I'm not against the police at all. I'm for them, you know what I'm saying? But good ones,
Yeah.
the ones that are going to use their trained skills to do it properly, follow the proper steps in the proper order. And that way, then there's nothing to even question, right? Because the truth, you don't have to rewrite. You don't have to make this go in there to fit there. It's not the square peg trying to go into the round hole. You know what I mean? It should be all easily seen in the courts. You shouldn't have to explain evidence or, I mean, I know they back and forth it, but if you have solid evidence that this is that person, DNA, it's going to show. If you have no evidence, there's something going on there lacked by the investigation in my eyes.
There was no DNA belonging to Luke Mitchell on Jodie, around Jodie, at the crime scene, at Jodie's house, anything like that. Nothing. But there was DNA of 5 other people.
Right.
But they 5 other people never got investigated the way Luke got investigated. I thought people were entitled to their own opinion. That's your words. But as soon as someone disagrees, you're gone at them. That's not true, Elizabeth. I have to tell you, you're allowed your own opinions. But when it comes to stupid ass questions like the one you just put up there,
it made no sense.
I'm going to say something about it and I'm going to try and put a logical answer to it. So people are allowed their own opinion.
I did say if you could reword your question, we would answer it, but I didn't understand your question. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude to you. I do believe everybody has an opinion if you're speaking nice, but I did not understand your question. Hi, sweetie. That's okay. Let me see. In fact, okay, that's something different. I don't see any questions. I'm trying to, is she talking about the dog? Maybe she was talking about the dog. Oh, she Dazed and Confused loves your accent. Everybody does. I do too. I'm jealous. Oh, here, see? Look, there's a guilter who has a spanner on Alice's channel. So there you go. That is fairness, isn't it? You know what I mean? It is fairness. But like I said, I'm willing to talk to anybody and everything, but I am very, very firm on getting facts out, and I will not just somebody's opinion you're more than entitled to it, but you need to have some factual backing for me to believe you. Like, I'm telling you that there's a case, the Summer Wells case is so loaded with games and lies and people that have inserted themselves that if the truth was in front of you, I don't think any of us would believe it because we are so used to the lie, the wolf crying all the time kind of thing. So that's why I'm very firm on facts. How are you going to get anybody out if you don't stick to the facts? You know what I'm saying? Hi, sweetie. You're not late.
But you would think people closest to the case, though, Linda, you would think that they would want the truth, you know what I mean? Because there is no justice done here. There's no justice for Luke and there's no justice for Jodie. Because in my opinion, Jodie's murderer is still walking about out there, you know. And I mean, I get people saying, I think they were just trying to understand, Elizabeth Moss, are you talking about telling the dog to find Jodie and not giving a scent?
And yes.
Yes.
There you go. So now you could, if you can decipher it, then you can answer it. Something about a name. And
well, that is that Maya was being trained as a tracker dog, and a lot of people are saying that the dog needs a scent. The dog needs that. But in my opinion, the dog doesn't need a scent. If you are telling the dog to find something with a certain command that this dog knows, you know, i.e., if the command word is seek, then you use seek. If the command word is find, then it's find. The dog knew Jodie's scent. So when he's went, seek Jodie, find Jodie, that's put her in a tracking mode that she's now in working mode. You know what I mean? She's got to find something. And it's Jodie. So she knows Jodie's scent already. Because she's been there to the house and everything like that.
But you wouldn't use that on regular tracking dogs. I think that's what she's saying. You wouldn't, on a normal scent dog, you wouldn't say, go find Jodie. You would have some scent. Okay. But if you're talking about Luke and Jodie's dog, or Luke's dog who knew Jodie, of course you're going to say, go find Jodie. That makes sense. So I don't see the argument there, because obviously I totally agree with you, Elizabeth. We would not do that to regular, normal scent dogs. Give them a name. They don't know the person. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what she means. So,
well, I mean, the thing is, Linda, right, I've got a husky, right? And he's not a German Shepherd, right? But he's a husky. But I can say to him, who's coming, or where is your Uncle William? You know, he gets all excited, he jumps up at the window, he looks in at the garden. If I've been out a walk with him and I come back and my brother or my son or that has been in the garden, he's picked up their scent and the tail's gone at the door before he's even in the house. So he knows that they're here, you know. So in my opinion, for Luke to turn around and say to Maya, seek Jodie, find Jodie, then the dog knew exactly what he meant and what he wanted her to do.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But no, apparently this is a load of rubbish. You know, this doesn't happen.
We all know that it does. Now, I want everybody else to know there's 2 white rabbits. I'm not quite sure if 2 white rabbits are in here, but there's White Rabbit JE and there's White Rabbit AF. We now have AF. Welcome, AF. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. So there is, I mean, you can debate with people all day long, right? But you're going to stick to your facts and you can prove it. It's like, you know, when you're talking to people that just want to argue and fight and distract you and deflate you from the truth, which been going on in Summer Wells' case, there is no facts except for the child's missing, and everybody there lies and inserts themselves with stories, and they're on YouTube making money. And that to me is disgusting. I don't have nothing wrong with anybody on YouTube making money. That's not my thing. You can get a super chat. You can sell merchandise. You can have memberships. I have all of it. But when you're on there every day with hashtag summer and you're not talking about that person, that's what gets to me. So you on your channel, when you say Luke Mitchell, you're talking Luke Mitchell. You're showing what you can show. You're reading directly out of a book or reading a transcript, right? You're going by the facts that were used in court, the facts that can get him out, because all these opinions that we are seeing will not do anything legally for anybody. Nowhere. No. All it's going to do is raise your blood pressure and you get nowhere. And it's better to smile anyway, you know, and be nice. Yeah. Okay. I honestly believe that. And I honestly believe that we all could work together. Even the side that doesn't agree with you, they have valid points too. that
Oh, of
should be
course.
noticed. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they do have the questions in that. And I totally respect that, because you need to see all of it before you can see the complete. You know what I mean? So we just
Well,
happened over here, give facts.
yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
mean, I've seen it for all sides, because as I say, this happened 30 minutes away from where I stay. You know, so I seen all the media streams. I seen everything that people were writing and posting and
Mhm.
things
They
like
get
that. You
dirty.
know what I mean?
They get rotten.
Especially the media, because we can't get transcripts and everything like that. A lot of it came from the media, and the police were feeding the media this stuff. You know, so
Yep.
instead of trying to quell any rumors or anything like that were going about the local area and things like that, they encouraged it. They just made it even worse
Right.
by
Right.
feeding the information,
Right.
you know, and
And
it shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that. You know,
right.
they should not have been able to put that laddie's face, never mind the boyfriend, in that paper, you
Right.
know.
He's a
And they thought
child
just
still,
because, and the court case shouldn't have happened in Edinburgh either. It should have happened in Glasgow,
because he was
because
too
that's too
see,
close
now
to home.
that's what's going to happen if there ever is anything that goes to court for poor Summer Wells. She's known all around the world. So where is there going to be a fair jury? Where is there going to be a fair trial? You know, I mean, I don't care if I can think that the parents did it all day long, but that is not factual right now. Okay. And if they do need to go to court, they're going to need a fair trial. Even a criminal, I don't care. You still need your rights still need to be met. You still need a fair trial. We know that Brendan Dassey didn't get a fair trial. Their jury pool was completely poisoned. We know Mitchell's was Luke Mitchell's. I mean, I could think of a lot of other cases, and so we as people who talk about it need to present more fact and less opinion. And if you're going to say opinion, if you believe this and that, that's fine. I mean, we all have them, you know what I mean? But you really got to think about what's going to legally help or hurt the case. You know, it's
Yeah,
good to talk about it. It's good to get their names out. It's good to do that. But you don't want to make an opinion turn into a fact. That is where a case will go wrong. And that's every case. It doesn't even matter. You're out making public statements. You really need to think about your words. The same with asking questions. You need to think about your words, because you're going to get more answers with smarter questions. Correct? I mean, that's how I feel, you know?
yeah, yeah, definitely. But when it
We
comes
are
to
the,
this case, it's either one or the other, Linda. You know, which is worrying, because the ones that are close to it on Jodie's side in the local area and everything like that still think he's guilty 100%, even though the
yes.
facts say otherwise. You
Yep.
know, and
Yep.
a lot of them still jump on Dr. Sandra Lean. I mean, Dr. Sandra Lean's been pushed in front of cars. She's been spat
Yeah.
on. She's been threatened. You know what I mean? And all the years
Yeah.
that she's done this case, you know, and she got threatened, and somebody went to her door and actually threatened her. You know, she went
Right.
to the police, and all the police says to her was, "Well, what do you expect?"
Mm-hmm.
No, oh, give me the details. We'll take the information. We'll go and see them. We'll go and have a word. You know what I mean? It was, well, what do you expect?
Right. Right. And see, that's another thing. You're people that really go over the line by threatening people's lives. Because this is just we're just talking about this, you know, you're just trying to what you believe in your heart help somebody, and yet somebody's going to threaten your life, like you said, be pushed in front of cars. I mean, she's really literally had her life threatened a million times. And weird things happen to her, and people follow her and this and that. And that happens here too in the YouTube world. People will be calling people's, you know, CPS on their children and go into their house. And, you know, it's crazy. You got to learn to be a decent human being and do this.
Yeah,
You cannot do this with hate in your heart or one opinion, because then you're just like the media who lies and who convicts before they've even been anywhere by a courtroom, just like
yeah,
with, a lot like West Memphis 3, the Central Park 5, your case in Scotland, and Stephen and Brendan's case. It's the same thing, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's you can see where it's went wrong, and you also can see how it stops from being fixed, with all of
yeah.
this. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous the ways that some people still react over
Yeah,
here to it,
yeah,
even though more and more there is more things coming out and pointing the finger that Luke is innocent of this
yeah,
crime.
yeah,
But people just
yeah.
don't like to hear that, Linda, and if
Mhm.
somebody else is saying it, then we're lying. And I mean, I've had people say to them, and Williams were one of them, when I've says he's like, well, Shane changed his statement so many times, Luke changed his statement so many times, Corrine lied about this, Corrine said this. For the first month of this whole thing, the search trio that was with Luke said the dog reacted first.
Yeah.
By the time the end of July came, that had all changed. By the time court came, their first statements and everything like that were all changed. The witnesses that were supposed to have seen him and everything like that, their descriptions changed
Yeah.
from what it was for their first statements and everything like that. But that's not all right. We're not supposed to go into that. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
only supposed to, because Luke changed his statement or because Corinne changed hers. But Luke has always swore from the beginning he is innocent of
Mhm.
this crime. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there
Like
is
I said,
other people that have changed their statements left, right, and centre. But that's not
mhm.
all right.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to look at them, Linda.
Right.
Why
Right.
not?
Well, when you think of misidentification, is like 73% the effect of wrongful convictions in the United States. And then there's prosecution, or no, then there's eyewitness identification, which is another, I think they said 23%. So then there's false confessions, which is coerced mostly, and that is due to the Reed technique, which is 33% of our wrongful convictions. And then, of course, you got prosecutional misconduct, and then police corruption. Them fall into, I think, 18% or something like that. So misidentification, misleading, that what is it called? Confirmational bias is
Mm-hmm.
something you get, and that is the leading cause.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, their main witness, the Crown's main witness, Linda, couldn't
right,
even identify him in court. She couldn't point him out in court. She couldn't turn around and say, yeah, that's him sitting over there,
right,
But when that's pointed out to people, it's, oh, well, he looked different, you know. He didn't look
I
that much different. His hair was maybe a wee bit longer and he's maybe put on a wee bit more weight, you know what I mean?
right.
Because he was in the jail. Other than
But they
that,
didn't look at the
he's
kid
not
who
changed
shaved
that
his
much.
head, changed his haircut, and everything else. They didn't look at that kid because
No, no, no,
that's an
that's
obvious to me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true, Linda.
yeah,
One of them cut off their hair, changed their appearance completely a few
yeah,
days after the murder. You know what I mean? The police, from the 1st of July, the police were asking for any witnesses, anybody that was in the vicinity of Rowandyke's path to come
right,
forward.
right.
Right?
And
They never came forward. The Moped Boys never came forward until the 5th and 6th of July. So that's 5 days after the murder.
right.
You know what
I
I
want
mean?
to answer Jinx's question, and I'll let you answer it first. Do you think that the media says too much at
Yes.
times?
Yes.
For me, I think they don't tell you the proper things. Not that they speak too much, but that they lie.
Yeah.
They make their station makes up their mind, and they say their opinion rather than the facts. I wish they would report real facts. if they're going to. And I do agree that these cases should not be discussed like they are so much, because that poisons the jury pool. It poisons the community. It poisons the prosecutors, the defendants, everybody, the witnesses, everything. It really can touch on everything, So I think more cases should be. I know people are going to hate on me for saying this, but I do believe that Ellie should keep that stuff tighter to their vest and only report when they have, solid things. Everybody goes, oh, well, what's going on? Investigations take a long time, especially proper ones. Okay. If they don't have anything and it's a cold case, I do believe they should say something like, this is turning into a cold case. We need some help. You know what I mean? But I do think it's discussed too much in public, and it's formed an opinion before anybody can even go to trial with a lot of cases myself, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, here, all it takes is for a police to say to a reporter, oh, we're checking out the boyfriend's house. And that's it. They'll run with it, you know what I mean? And I mean, you've seen some of the headlines, devil spawn, maniac on the loose, things like that, you know what I mean? And they shouldn't be allowed to print stuff like that, I mean, as I says, when it comes to, look, they thought just because they never put Luke Mitchell, but they put the boyfriend, that's wrong. They shouldn't have been able to do that. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have been able to print pictures of him either. Everybody knew who Jodie's boyfriend was. Why have him plastered all over the media for fucking 8.5 months? You know what I mean?
Right. And
then because over here, the way it works, right? If a minor is in court proceedings, actually going through trial or in court, then they are not allowed to name them because it's an active case. But because Luke wasn't in an active case, because the police didn't have anything for them, they were saying that they had plenty of stuff in August 2003, but it took them to 2005 for Luke to go to trial and for Luke to be sentenced.
Right.
I mean, his trial wasn't until November 2004.
White Rabbit says, over here, only after a case concludes do the facts or information come out. We learn so much about the person after, but the premise, I'm not a very good reader out loud, premise of innocence until proven guilty is protected by no info. And I agree so much. I agree with that. I really do. But in this country, we're nosy. We all believe about our rights. We all have the right. But your rights get hurt by all that they're screaming for. They get hurt by that. I don't want, if I'm ever involved in a case, which hopefully, Lord, please, I would never find myself there. But I know if two people said I murdered somebody, I'd be going down to the jailhouse and being interrogated. You know what I mean? But I know them 4 words. I want my lawyer first of all. You got to know your rights.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Luke asked for a lawyer. Yeah, Luke asked for his lawyer. Luke asked for his mum. And he got told no.
Yeah.
And when he asked for a lawyer, he got told, you don't need a lawyer.
Yeah, well, he didn't need a lawyer, I guess. See, there's certain things in both of our systems that I think they're not really far off from wanting to change. I think we both have the same kind of things going wrong, and they're caused by the same things.
Yeah.
Media and lack of investigational facts.
Yeah.
And evidence, that I do believe that a confession, you need the words to match the evidence. If that doesn't match, then that doesn't need to be there. And I also believe that a person being at a place with DNA is very important. DNA is the most important thing in cases. If you're coming across an investigation where The water has been all over this person. There has not been anybody protecting the evidence to begin with, taking pictures, covering it up, taping it off, getting people out of there, whatever they need to do, target the main thing. You're not doing that. You're not going to get to the truth. Okay. You're
No,
just not going to.
the police cut down branches and
Yeah.
things like that, Linda, round
Could have been
about
hair on
Jodie
there.
so that they could get in and take photographs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was left out in the rain
Yeah.
for about 6 hours,
Yeah.
if no longer than that, you know,
Yeah.
because the pathologist couldn't get over the wall. You know, there was other ways into that field. I've showed that in a video that I've done. The different ways that you could get into that field. Now, there was nothing wrong with her going up the top of that path and going in the other end, or down the
Right.
bottom of the path at Luke's side and going in the other end. There was other ways for her to get to Jodie's body. But because she couldn't
Right.
get over the wall, she didn't go. So they had to wait for another pathologist to come. And they didn't show up until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock the next again morning. So that lassie was out in the rain and everything. They moved her body and put it on a bit of tarp. You know what I mean? They picked up all her clothes and scrunched them all together. They didn't pick them up individually and put them into evidence bags. They scrunched them all together and they collected them all together. So there was DNA contamination and things like that already before
Right.
even any of the forensics and that got there.
Who
You
cares?
know what I mean? And then the police used bleach at the scene.
Right. Right. That's
It's
absolutely. I cannot even believe it. Hi, Nan's Life. Welcome. Ma'am showed lawyers aren't yeah, no kidding. I mean, okay, I've got to be honest. I've never in my life seen a prosecutor get on national TV and say the things that Ken Kratz said about Stephen and Brendan ever, or have I ever seen that since? That was pure fantasy. Whatever he thought in his head happened because there was no proof of it. Brendan's words did not match any evidence. The evidence is very shaky. A lot of conflict of interest there. And he screwed the whole entire community in their mind when he gave that press conference. That's what your press, your papers, your newspaper and everything did to Luke. So it happens and that's why if we're going to be out here talking about this stuff, it's good to talk about it. It's good to break things down if you want to, but don't make your opinion facts because you can see what it does. This is what the professionals are doing. We're not professionals. I'm not a professional investigator. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any of that. I'm just a person who believes in the right, making a wrong right, just like Alice. So we're only going by what we see. All right. We're not going by what we think, you know?
Yeah. I mean, William, to me, it doesn't matter whether it was 1 foot, 2 foot, or 3 inches. They should not have touched the body. They
That's
should
right.
not have touched anything at that crime scene. They shouldn't have cut down no branches. They shouldn't have moved nothing. They shouldn't have touched their clays until the forensics got there.
What does it say? Baby P. I've never heard of that. Well, I don't know what country you're in.
We didn't know who was the accused of his murder. Even his stepdad was. The court would not allow his details to be released, even on social media. Yeah, that was a case that was here. A wee boy got murdered. But we only find out. What she's meaning is that we only find out things after the fact, Linda. You know,
Right.
We don't know. You know, whether they had crimes in the past or whatever. We don't know these details until they come out.
Oh, Evil Meow Meow. Yeah, let's also talk about lawyers.
And let's not forget Evil Meow Meow. Yeah.
Don't
well, I mean,
Luke
had the best lawyer in the country. You know, Donald Finlay QC, and he was the best in Scotland. But over here, the way it works is he can't, if he's got something he has that categorically states Luke was not there, right? Luke was not at a certain place or did a certain thing, right? And he's got it in his file. See if the prosecution don't bring that up, then his defense can't bring it up.
Right.
You know, so he has to wait. Luke's lawyer had to wait to see what the defense was going to bring, what the prosecution was going to bring up. Right, so because even the time scale that they're saying Luke did this in is impossible, Linda. It's impossible.
Right. Yep.
The murder was supposed to have happened at 5:15 at night. Now, that is just, what's the word I'm looking for? That is just, nothing was done to test for body temperature or anything like that.
Right,
so
that's right. So that's an estimated. It's a guesstimated time.
Yeah.
It's not a factual time of death.
No,
right.
No, because they didn't do that. You know,
Right.
And Luke's alibi was his mum and his brother because he was at home cooking their dinner. You know, so that was the only time that they could put Luke in the time frame, was between 5 and 5:30, because he was out at 5:30 waiting on Jodie. He phoned Jodie's mum's 32 minutes past, didn't get an answer, so then phoned back at 40 minutes past, got an answer, and they got told that she'd already left. So he waited for her, she never showed up. So he was then seen at the end of his street by his friends at 6 o'clock. So,
so how did he fastly kill her, cut her up, and all that other stuff in that time, and not be full of blood? Absolutely not. Impossible. Unless he's wearing a hazmatic suit from head to toe, and his face and everything is covered, and he did that, and then he took that off and threw it somewhere, which I'm sure somebody would have found. You cannot do it. I mean, people, I heard somebody in your chat last week say that Luke took his hands and rubbed them in the mud to get the blood off. Please. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I'm so sorry. And I'm not putting anybody down. If that's what they firmly believe, that's okay. I'm really not. But to me, that's not common sense. That's not logical. And you have to use common sense. Please excuse me, but everybody was given it. I'm sorry if you didn't accept it, but you're given common sense along with logic. You grow up and learn these things. So if you're not using them, then you really have a hard time making any kind of decisions too. So had his identity been released, it would have meant he couldn't stand trial, and the young child would have not gotten. That's good. Then I'm glad. All I want is to see rights. If you're guilty, you're guilty. Okay. Then you take your crime. If you're not guilty, you do not need to be spending time in jail. 1 minute wrongfully convicted is a lifetime, because it's going to take you a lifetime to get out. And we've proven that. We're doing that all the time. And these missing children cases. Yeah. And these missing child cases, you cannot. It's not like you got years to sit there and figure it out and go over your thoughts about it. You need to figure out the truth. You know what I mean? So as we all around the world are doing this, because true crime is a very big thing. And I mean, like I said, I've been here for 5 years on one case. And you now, everybody check out her channel. It's down below. Wonderful person. You can see she goes by facts. She'll tolerate the trolls, but she'll give you a what to and who for and call you whatever, but that's okay. It's her channel. She can do what she wants. And it sounds pretty anyway, no matter what it does. But everybody is welcome to opinions. I think we just need to really be a little bit more mindful of how we talk to people. And, you don't have to like the way I do my podcast. There's a group somewhere for you to do that you might like, just like Alice. We're all free will choice here. And I just think we all should just work together. I mean, the more people you get together working at things and figuring things out, you got ideas, you got, more voices for the injustice. And that's what we're all here for, right? I mean, we don't want to see this stuff happening to anybody else. I mean, it could be you, could be me, could be your children.
It could be any one of us, Linda. It could be any one of your kids.
Yeah,
that this is happening
my
to.
grandchildren. Yeah, exactly. I encourage all of you. I encourage all of you to go over to Alice in Wrongful Conviction Land and subscribe to her. She will be talking about the Luke Mitchell case. You do have a weekly podcast now. You're doing them on Monday nights, correct?
Yeah, Monday nights. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Is get back into it and do it on a Monday night. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock my time. I had a bit of a brain fart the other day there. I was meant to do one, but I was looking for a certain clip and I found it on somebody else's channel and I was like, oh, well, I want to get permission first because I'm taking it off of their channel, you know. But then I remembered, oh, no, wait a minute. I think that bit was in Murder in a Small Town. So I've got it recorded on my Sky box and I went and rechecked it and it's in the actual bloody show. I could have just took the clip for there and played the clip for there. I was like,
you're learning, and like I said, we all share information. And if we use somebody's information, the only thing we do is mention the person. It's good to give credit where credit is due on Information Highway, and there is an Information Highway. And I suggest everybody try to check out what you need through other people, through your subscribers, because I believe every single person that's here listening to me or talking about this kind of stuff matters. I just believe we all matter and we all can add to something rather than fight. And even Elizabeth and I could probably get along if I could understand her questions. And that might be a country barrier, I mean, she's in another country and worded differently, so that it does come across text sometimes differently. But I do thank you for being here, Elizabeth. And I thank everybody else for being here. And I thank you, Alice, very much. And they can find you on your channel at Foul Play Discord. On Sundays with me on Brendan Talks, talking about Kelly. We're talking about his oh God, I hate that guy. yeah, he's somebody I could really lose my temper over. You know what I'm saying? So and
thank you to everybody who's just subscribed. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah. And hey, any of you want to come talk, you know where I'm at. And also I'd like to mention that in the Ukraine, they're going through some very hard times. The children are, and there's something like 700,000 children a day that are displaced from their homes. And on my channel, you'll find it's called Creators for Peace. You can watch the video if you want or not. There's a link to donate directly to them. I don't see anything goes directly to the UNICEF to help displaced children and their families. So I encourage you all to do so if you can. And check out The White Rabbit on YouTube. They got very interesting stuff there. And thank you all for being here. Alice, thank you so very much for being here. And I'll see you on the streets.
Oh, Jinx is leaving us with a question, Linda. Who's worse?
Okay, well, here we go. Oh, I did say that in the beginning. Yes. And happy heavenly birthday to Teresa, who would have been 42 today. I've been on this case for 5 years, so, it's a long time.
And she says, who's worse? Jinx says, who's worse? Len, O'Kelly, or Kratz?
I think O'Kelly, myself. I really do. He laid it all out like he was schooling Brendan. That is very, very nice of you, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. I'm sure them people really appreciate you doing that. And I'm going to play my cool end exit. And I'll talk to you all later. Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, hit the bell. Oh, I do have memberships if you're interested. If not, hey, that's okay. Just be here. Be here and talk. You're all welcome. All right, Alice, we will talk to you later.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon.
Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break.
I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.